The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
All right, so the Vancouver Canucks win Game 3 against the Edmonton Oilers, and you know what I got to say about that? Leon Draisaitl, why are you so pissy?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because guess what? It is your Canucks every damn day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you go like or subscribe. Follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, okay? On today's episode, there's so much to get into, man. Arturs Silovs, better than Grant Fuhr, that play at the end of the game, which I got some pretty strong takes on. I got to talk about pissy Leon Draisaitl and even pissier Edmonton media. All that and more. But before we do that, let me introduce my co-host with the most, Kyle Bowen. Flex Bowen, buddy, how you doing?
Bro, we playing with what? House money? Is that what they call it? Don't get me wrong. I want to get to the Cup final. I want to win the Stanley Cup, but I feel as if we're playing with house money. There's so much ammo already in this series. And yeah, the Oilers, man, just a strange franchise. Clearly a fan base. Well, no, I don't even want to target the fan base. It's a media group and a hockey team in general that act like they've been there. You know what I'm saying? Consistently. It's so weird. It's so strange, you know? Like, just not only is it weird in hockey or in NHL for teams to do that, again, act like they've been there before when you really haven't in the playoffs. Again, strange behavior, loser behavior. It's frowned upon across sports in general. And it's starting to make more sense to me why Trevor was so optimistic with the Canucks' chances going against this powerhouse that was the Edmonton Oilers, because the more and more I listen to them talk, again, when it's the media and the players, the more and more I realize that, man, oh man, this is a team that is not humble. They're not accountable. And it makes sense, again, why they don't get past the second round. Straight up. Anyways, there's so much more work to be done. Again, so much ammo in this series. What a time to be a hockey fan. And man, oh man, so many things to talk about, okay? Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs, one left to the Don't Doze Art Lab, you know, for giving us the space to produce this show, straight up, taking care of that West Coast bias. Hey, speaking of that West Coast bias, Beggsy, it's been a long time since we've heard your voice. I'm going to shut up, lay out the episode like you did earlier, go on a spiel, get emotional, do you.
Oh, man, that's like I said, it's a privilege doing this with you, buddy. And again, covering not only a Canucks Edmonton Oilers series in round 2, but one where the Canucks, again, have the edge in the series. And I said it when we did the show, I believe it was on Friday. I felt better about the Canucks after 2 games, even though the series was tied 1-1, than I did at the beginning of the series. Now, Kyle, you mentioned it. I think I was pretty optimistic about the Canucks in general. I truly believe that they could win this series. But again, you see what's happened over the first 3 games, and, you know, throw the shots out the window last night, because I believe a lot of that was game script. You know, the Canucks were up by, 2 goals for a majority of the game. And a lot of those chances in the third period were those high danger chances as well. And you know what? When there were those high danger chances, Silovs was rock solid, man. And Edmonton, they've been allergic to rock solid goaltending ever since Grant Fuhr. And guess what? Arturs Silovs, hey man, maybe he's even better than Grant Fuhr. Okay, remember Grant Fuhr was, allowing 5 goals a game, but he'd make that one big save. Arturs Silovs is making save after save after save, and he's bringing out the worst in that Oilers locker room. Okay, we talked about it from game 1 of the season. Connor McWhiner whining about the Canucks goaltending situation when they lost 8-1. Leon Draisaitl last night, when he's asked about Silovs goaltending, said, well, the post isn't good goaltending. What loser mentality, what whiner behavior. And again, on paper, I did believe that this Oilers team is going to figure it out one day. They're going to win a Stanley Cup with that core. I'm less confident in that now when I hear these guys talk. And again, look, Kyle, you said it when we talked on the phone prior to this game. 10 of 11 goals in this series have come from the Ekholm, Bouchard, Hyman, Draisaitl, McDavid, 5 players there. There's no one else in this team that's really going right now. And again, I look at this Canucks team that has more depth, and we'll get into Pettersson and the line mates later, but this is a Canucks team that has depth right now, more so than Edmonton. That got a goaltender who's way, 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 way better. Calm, cool, collected. Unlike shaky Skinner on the other side of the ice over there. And, you hear Silovs after the game just, he's humble, he's confident. The heart rate is right where it should be. And he made some huge saves last night too, right? And you hear, obviously Draisaitl was kind of whining about, the post isn't good goaltending. Even Chris Knobloch after the game was talking about, we should have had a few more goals, but there was posts. And, I thought that goal on Perry should have been a goal. By the way, it shouldn't have been a goal. There was no way that should have been a goal. They made the right call on the ice. Again, it's Canucks fans right now should be feeling good about the fact that they are a better team than the Edmonton Oilers. And no one thought that coming to the series, except maybe the most delusional Canuck fans like you and I.
Wow, dude. The better team. It's a strong thing to say, because in the last 2 games, you could arguably say the Canucks have gotten really, really dominated. But I think a large part of that has to do with the rhetoric around this team being a one-line team. And yeah, Oilers fans want to talk about those other lines, limiting our chances, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, if you're going to play McDavid and Draisaitl for 30 minutes a game, obviously you guys should have more shots than us. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. Like, again, unstoppable to stop, genuinely speaking. At the same time, though, I think a lot of people are talking about how even though the Canucks were quote-unquote dominated, they did a pretty good job in the third period, not giving a lot of high dangers, just doing their thing. And I think if they focus on that, they have a chance to not only win this in 5, but assassinate the Oilers. Assassinate the Oilers. I don't think anyone saw this coming. You know what I'm saying? For real. I'm getting emotional. I'm not making a lot of sense on this episode, okay? I'm just going on a spiel. Straight up. But they do have a chance, because you talk about the Canucks' depth, right? And again, we're getting outshot by 30 shots a game. That's what it feels like over the last 2. But because it's the playoffs and mistakes happen and the Oilers are not a perfect team and their defense kind of sucks, individually speaking, outside of Ekholm and Bouchard, I am confident that the Canucks have enough swagger and skill to bury down on their chances against really, really mediocre goaltending. Okay? Emphasis on mediocre goaltending. Straight up. It's some of the worst goaltending in the league. It really is. And you know what? If they do take a lot of shots against us, they continue to put a lot of pressure, have 5 to 6 more minutes of offensive zone pressure. Hey, last time I checked, a goaltender is a part of the team. Straight up. And when you have an elite one, it's part of the traits listed in the team, within the team, that generates success. Okay. So I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to cry about it. The fact that we develop crazy goaltenders, because let's be honest, I know it's only been a handful of games, but Silovs is sick. Like, the Canucks are going to go into next season. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves with Swayman, Olmark type energy. Okay. And they're going to need that because Demko can't play a lot of games. No, it's just the truth. Look how good this guy is. This guy came in for Demko and DeSmith in Nashville. You know how hard it is to play hockey in Vancouver, especially as a goaltender? And what did he do? He was our MVP. He really was. Now he's playing in this all-Canadian series against Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, and those two are dominating. They're dominating. They're doing their thing. And this guy's having fun out there, just playing the sport. You want to talk about Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl being elite? Dude, I don't give a... Arturs Silovs is elite. He's a top 3 goaltender in hockey right now in the playoffs. It's just the truth.
Yeah, and again, it's crazy to say that that's the case, because this guy has a baker's dozen now of NHL games under his belt. I mean, it's wild what's happening right now. But again, if you're an Oilers fan, you got to be seeing ghosts, all right? If you recall from the playoffs last season, Skinner got pulled 4 times in the first 2 rounds. Okay, this is the first time he's been pulled in these playoffs. But again, this is a guy who has historically now been shaky in the playoffs. And I know he had a good regular season and blah blah blah. But again, you got an Oilers team right now that is a one-line team with no goaltender and a bad defense aside from Ekholm and Bouchard. I mean, there's a reason the Canucks scored 4 goals on 15 shots, and it's not all on Skinner. Look at both the Brock Boeser's goals last night. The first goal, this guy's a load in the slot all day long. And again, that was against the Hyman, Draisaitl, McDavid. Sure, these guys are putting up like 20 shots a game combined or whatever, but where the hell were they on that play? And then Boeser's second goal, And I know Suter made the turnover. The play was against the grain. But again, Boeser's all alone in front against Stuart Skinner. And I know you want your goaltender to make a save, but that's a tough spot for Stuart Skinner to be on. So give him a bit of grace there. He hasn't been great by any means. I think there's a good chance he does not start game 4, which is crazy. And I think maybe we'll touch more on that tomorrow as we learn about it.
He won't make a save. He won't make a save. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm just emotional right now, but I don't like. There's too much pressure to play that position in Edmonton based on all the talk about McDavid and Draisaitl possibly leaving one day, right? It's just the truth. Like, the task to win a cup in Edmonton with McDavid on your team, it's pretty daunting, especially when your team defense, individually speaking, right, is a majority of a cast full of players who are, in my opinion, less than like 81 overall. If we're talking NHL video game terms, real talk. It's a lot of pressure for Skinner to like do his thing. He's not going to be able to get it done. I don't see it. I don't see it, especially in that locker room where it's quite clear that accountability, you know what I'm saying? That maturity is not there. Because even look at game 1. I'm going to say this quote every single time. And again, the Canucks have a lot of work to do. Inexperienced team, the Oilers dominating us over the last 2 games, had a lot of shots. I get it. We're up 2-1 in the series. There's a lane for us to win, but a lot of work to do. But after what Skinner said in game 1, he set the tone for this series to be a lot of trouble for the Oilers. Okay, again, he blows that lead in the 3rd period. We come back, and he has the audacity to say, and this guy's a second-year player, okay, on a Stanley Cup contending team, and he has the audacity to say that, individually speaking, I thought I played a good game going into the third period. And this is after he scored on himself in the 2nd period. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of energy in that room. You go over to the Canucks, and again, they have a lot of work to do. I get it. They haven't been there in a long time. 13 months ago, we were joining the lottery, blah, blah, blah. But, dude, these guys make no excuses. They make absolutely no excuses, ever. Even when we want them to make excuses as fans, you know? They don't do it. That's the difference, and it may be the difference in the series.
Yeah, you're right about that, buddy. He set the tone early on, and not in a good way if you're a fan of the Edmonton Oilers. Look, Stuart Skinner, he was a nominee for the Calder last year, but right now it is the rookie Arturs Silovs who's putting the league on notice. And Silovs, we know for a fact that he's better than Stuart Skinner despite barely playing any NHL games. And guess what? He might even be better than Grant Fuhr, because that's the kind of energy we're bringing here on Locked On Canucks, baby. Okay, on the other side, we got to talk about the physicality in this series, okay? And specifically, the play at the end of the game, Soucy Zadorov, McDavid, and all these whiny BS reports from Edmonton journalists who think they should throw the book at Soucy. Who knows? We might even learn about the suspension as we're recording live right now. Let's talk about that on the other side, because I got to get it off my chest. But before I do that, let me shout out our friends over at Policygenius. All right. I'm feeling right now that life insurance is pretty damn important. So I'm recording this from enemy territory, okay? Wainwright, Alberta. I'm seeing the Oilers flags around. You know, I'm out here.
Oh, this guy's microphone cut out. He's doing an advertisement.
Wearing it loud and proud. And that's why I got to have life insurance, okay? Because I might die out here, man. I might die, you know? You never know. So that's why if I'm going to get life insurance, I got to do it through Policygenius, okay? With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. So now I know that if I get killed out here in Wainwright, Alberta by some crazy Oilers fans, I know my wife and family are going to be okay. You know, Policygenius, they're here to help you compare options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step, and you can easily compare quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. Your work life insurance policy may not be enough to offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job, and that's why I use Policygenius, okay? Because my little work life insurance policy ain't going to help my family out. But if I die here in Alberta, Policygenius, they got my wife's back, okay? They got my wife's back. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonnhl or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quote and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonnhl.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. For real. And And just in general, talking about loving hockey again. Can I say that? Like really loving hockey again? Maybe even loving yourself again because you're having more fun in your life. And in my opinion, fun unlocks, freedom. It unlocks the truth. It unlocks you staying in the moment, right? It really does. Speaking of staying in the moment, I know it. I know it. I know Begsy's doing that all vacation long for real. Somebody asked about you yesterday. I think it was Ricky or Roy. And he was talking about how, how's Trevor doing? Like, what's he doing? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know why I described you as a hippie again. I always describe you as a hippie, man. Again, another guy who stays in the moment. This all being said, how hard is it for you to be in both places, right? Like, come on, family man, vacation, road trip, and the Canucks are doing this, like playing really emotional games against the Oilers.
Honestly, there's a part of it that doesn't really feel real, like the fact that I'm in, but bleep nowhere in Wainwright, Alberta, in enemy territory, watching the Canucks play the Oilers in the playoffs for the first real playoff series in a long time, second round hockey with fans in the building. A lot of it doesn't feel real, to be honest. I kind of feel like I'm in dream mode right now. And again, maybe that's why I've been so bullish on the Canucks. Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm a little delusional. But I also think some of what I'm saying is based in realism as well. And I know when I say this based out of realism is that this whole Soucy Zadorov attack on McDavid thing, I'm seeing these journalists from Edmonton go off, and I'm calling them out. So there's Terry James or something like that?
Say it.
And there's Eric Duhashik from The Athletic, who's a Flames reporter. Terry Jones, my bad. Terry Jones, he's apparently in his Twitter profile, Edmonton Sports Hall of Fame, Canadian Sports Media Lifetime Achievement inductee. This guy apparently has watched hockey for a long time. So when I see him saying stuff like, I decided to wait till the morning to see if I felt the same way I do about that play. Carson Soucy should be suspended for the rest of the playoffs for postseason post-game cross-check to the face of Connor McDavid, defining decision for the Department of Player Safety. Are you telling me this old crack who's been covering hockey for decades think that play should be result in suspension for the rest of the playoffs? Are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me? I think even casual fans know that play was incidental. It doesn't look good, obviously. But that Soucy is not cross-checking McDavid in the face or the throat if Zadorov doesn't push him first, okay? You could almost see afterwards in the scrum, Soucy going and apologizing to McDavid. And maybe he told him to suck it. Who knows? But it looked like to me that he was trying to apologize to McDavid because it was obviously an incidental play. And Soucy's not a dirty player. So I don't know. And then Eric Duhashik from The Athletic wrote an op-ed about how this is a defining moment, too, for the Department Player of Safety, and they got to get it right. He goes in the big tangent. He goes into big tangent about how McDavid hasn't got a lot of calls against him and goes back to revisionist history. Look, if you watch game 2, there's a lot of stuff that McDavid got away with. So, man, just reading this biased bullshit from other media members out there, it really grinds my gears, man. Honestly, Soucy's probably gonna get suspended, and he should, in my mind. But it just is what it is, and it's trying to protect Connor McJesus, even if that play wasn't what some of these old journalists want you to think it was.
Crazy. Okay, so when you're going to get suspended for more than one game, I feel as if there has to be a high level of intent, right? Intent to injure. And again, anyone with a working set of eyes here realizes that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. Hockey is a quick game, aka scrums. They're even quicker sometimes. And there's no way Soucy wanted to have his stick in a position where it was going to hit McDavid in the face. There's no way. He was going for the mid shot but ironically at the same time, Zadorov just comes from nowhere and just clobbers this guy in the back. Okay. And again, I don't want anyone to get injured, but do I want people to get hurt? It's the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And they've been taking runs at Quinn Hughes the whole way through. We saw the slew foot, a dirty slew foot from Evander Kane in game 2. Nothing got called. It is what it is. Okay. That's our captain and that's your captain. And bro, that's Nikita Zadorov. This guy is turning himself into a legend. I'm telling you. You know how much of a target, and I'm not talking about a target or a shot coming from the Department of Player Safety and George Peros. I'm talking about him being a warrior and playing the game of hockey, okay? He just cross-checked Connor McDavid in the back. Blatant cross-check, okay? And it's going to lead to a Carson Soucy suspension. That's how powerful this cross-check was. And that means that he's going to be going into game 4 at Rogers Place being not only public enemy number 1 from the fans, but being a prime target for Evander Kane, for whatever fourth line bum these guys have, for Corey Perry. Like, he's going to get quote unquote hurt from this. Okay. You know how much balls you have to have to want to do that and to do that. You know how much care also you have for your team to do that. Again, Nikita Zadorov loves being a Vancouver Canucks. You don't think he did that to McDavid because of what Kane did to Hughes in game 2? Those two things are connected. Remember, Zadorov asked Kane to fight after that as well, but Kane didn't want it. And look what happened. Look what happened to Vander Kane. You're a bum. If you fight Zadorov there, is Zadorov cross-checking McDavid in the back at the end of the game? Probably not. It's just the truth. And I like it, though. I like it. I think this is what it's all about. Not just the playoffs in general, but coming together as a team. Moments like that. And Zadorov is not only must sign, he's must see TV. He's that damn good right now. It's just the truth.
Yeah, I think the word legend is the best word to describe it right now. And let's touch on Evander Kane quick because I've talked about reasons why I've been bullish on the Canucks, and again, more bullish on the Canucks after game 2, especially even more bullish after game 3. But another reason why I think the Oilers are losing the series, and if you're watching us on YouTube, you see the Oilers loser logo that belongs on Evander Kane. Obviously the slew foot of Quinn Hughes was dirty. And, when I watched that Nikita Zadorov hit, and, call me crazy. I know some fans see it this way. Some probably don't. When I first saw Zadorov put Kane into the bench and I saw the skate come down on Zadorov, I thought it was incidental. But the more I watch it, the more I think Kane's doing that on purpose. Knowing who Evander Kane is as a player, again, a bit of chicken shit attitude, not fighting Zadorov, being a bit of a bad boy off the ice, to put it nicely. Again, Evander Kane smirking on the bench after kicking Zadorov in the head. They deserve that penalty. It was unbelievable stuff. And I know the Edmonton fans were not too happy about the incidental call there, but man, oh man, Evander Kane is just a POS. And again, the Oilers deserve to lose the series for a few reasons, but Evander Kane and his POS attitude is near the top of that list.
Dude, let's keep it rolling, man. Let's keep this going, man. No time limit on today's show. Okay, I'm going to answer a lot of comments as well. And again, I'm getting emotional. I'm talking a lot of ish. I just called out Evander Kane, too, for not fighting Zadorov in game 2, and look at what happened. Man, oh man, this is a team that has 11 goals in this series, 10 of them coming from 5 players. And that may sound like a lot, but consider that these 5 players play together the whole game, okay? It's a one-line team, and there's Kane doing nothing about it. Nothing about it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You talk about depth. It's not just about depth scoring. It's about impactful plays coming from multiple places, and the Canucks are getting that done, straight up. It just happened, bro. And look, I want to bring up someone else. And this may change going into game 4 because Soucy may get suspended. But man, oh man, Tyler Myers led the team in ice time in a must-win game, okay? When there's a third-string goaltender in net. You get what I'm saying? That's crazy. And this guy had 7 hits and 4 block shots. This all being said, I think a big reason why the Canucks quite clearly are getting so outmatched by McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Bouchard, and Ekholm, outside of the fact that, that combination does involve 2 of the best players in the league, is the lack of Quinn Hughes being the only option. Just like how the Oilers coach is using those 5 as the only option to generate offense. I feel like because of a Soucy suspension and just the fact that we haven't been able to stop these guys, real talk, I think we're about to see the 28, 29-minute game from Quinn Hughes, especially if Carson Soucy's not going to play. Because if Carson Soucy's not playing because he's suspended, that means Myers is playing less because he is a bit of a safety blanket. And there's been a lot of ups and downs with Soucy lately, but when he's up, he looks like a top 4 defenseman, straight up. He's got a large task at hand, and he's doing his thing. Again, if he's suspended, Myers is playing less, and I do think that in game 4, we see Quinn Hughes playing almost every shift against that line, which hasn't been the case yet, but I think it will be the case because of the suspension. Also, I don't know about you, Trevor, but I feel as if Quinn Hughes played a clean game defensively yesterday.
Yeah.
Clean game. We were having a tough time getting the puck out of the zone. Not for Quinn Hughes. He was doing his thing.
Yeah, I think he was clean at both ends of the ice, right? Again, he's such an underrated defender, and he doesn't get the credit because of his size for the most part. But man, oh man, it's just when the puck's on his stick, it's not staying in the defensive zone for a long time. And then again, flashing the offensive creativity too. I mean, what a great play on the power play to set up the first goal of the game. Quinn Hughes basically pulling the JT Miller, walking down the half wall to the goal line, setting up Boeser at the point, who rips it for the Canucks' first goal that was tipped in by Lindholm. I mean, Quinn Hughes is honestly had an underrated playoffs, I think, because, Zadorov has been a big story. The goaltending's been a big story. JT Miller, Brock Boeser have both been big stories. I think Quinn Hughes and what he's been doing in this playoffs has been a bit underrated. And again, I think last night was a prime example of why.
Dude, last night was the most elusive he's looked all playoffs long. And that's obviously a great thing for us. And I think it's going to lead to, again, him getting a lot of minutes and ultimately the Canucks generating more offense as well. Okay. If this guy plays 3 or 4 minutes a game where he's feeling like that, because I know he just played 27 minutes a couple games ago or whatever. I know he's done that recently, but again, building off of yesterday's performance, being that elusive and him being able to play more minutes, possibly help our transition game a lot more, is going to give us the same cause and effect that Draisaitl and McDavid give the Oilers when their best guy is on. Because when Quinn is really on, and again, he's that elusive, in his own way, he's generational, okay? And I got to bring this up as well because last night, down the rabbit hole, I'm emotional. I know we're running out of time here, but I got to say this, okay? Home of the West Coast Bias. I was watching the analysis of Quinn Hughes when he got drafted, okay, by TSN. And he gets drafted, Benning picks him, and Bob McKenzie is talking, and he's talking about how there's some scouts out there that question Quinn's ability to play defense, right? And when Quinn was asked about that, he was quoted in saying that he just played in the World Hockey Championships as like a 18-year-old or whatever, and he was only on for 1 goal against that whole thing, right? That whole tournament. He bragged about it. And then Bob McKenzie added to that point saying that he sees Quinn Hughes as a defender that is successful defensively in a unique way, like in his own way.
Yeah.
He's able to be clean with it. And early on in the playoffs, and even recently, I feel as if he was good. He was great, but not perfect because the timing was off when it came to him not being able to elude checks. But yesterday, I feel as if we saw the breakthrough. The Edmonton Oilers were hustling all game, but there was Quinn Hughes being our only defenseman, realistically speaking, that was firing on 95% of his clearances, his passes, the calmness, the poisonous. I just feel as if there's a breakthrough coming, and it's coming in game 4, and the Canucks are winning, man. Straight up, man. Go Canucks, go.
There you go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I love it, man. Let's hey, it's too bad none of the Oilers can catch Quinn Hughes. And I know that chicken shit Evander Kane, you know, they mentioned on the broadcast that he had 13 goals in 15 games a couple of postseasons ago. Looks like a shell of him for his former self. You know, I think this guy might be the new Nick Cousins of the NHL, man. Not wanting to fight. But anyways, you'd like it if he would probably like it if you could catch Quinn Hughes. I'm sure he'd like to try, but alas, no one can catch Quinn Hughes. Again, still going to be a long series, though. That's what I'm predicting, but I'm confident in your Vancouver Canucks. And also confident that we're going to get some comments on the other side because, again, Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. We're here for the people. We're here for you. But we're also here because we get paid by our sponsors, and we got to shout one of them out here. And it is eBay Motors. You know the deal, baby. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. You know, I wish the Edmonton Oilers, but they had an eBay Guaranteed Fit for their goaltending position because, man, oh, man, that's a rough goal if you're a fan of the Oilers. Hey, but you know what? If you're with eBay Motors, you know the deal. You're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need, the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Oh, baby. Keep your ride or die live at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers.
Man, oh man, we doing this, and that's giving you an episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bauman. That right there is Trevor Beggs. One left to the Don't Doze Art Lab for letting us do this in their studio and giving that West Coast bias out for free. Okay, for real. Just for you and you and you and you and you and you. Speaking of you and you and you and you, join the Discord. Link in the bio. Let's get to a couple comments before we end off the show. And I'm loving the emotion today, man. I really am, dude. It's something else. That rivalry is brewing between the Oilers and the Canucks. I think it was destined that we were going to find some sort of rivalry with any team because the playoffs just do that. That being said, I am ecstatic that both Beggsy and I were right. Okay, in October and November, we called this. We we call this. This is going to be the NHL's next biggest rivalry. There's a lot of star-studded players here. I didn't know we were going to have this much personality, though, because we didn't have Lindholm. We didn't have Zadorov. But man, oh man, it's happening before our eyes. And it would, again, be a beautiful thing if the Canucks get this done, if they win this and assassinate the Edmonton Oilers. And if they do assassinate them, then this Oilers rivalry is not going to last that long. It could be only a 2-year thing, because this era of hockey for these guys with this core could definitely be over if they get ousted by a quote unquote third stringer. Unbelievable. Beggsy, did you see any comments that you want to get to? Because I haven't really skimmed through them quickly, but I'll let you take the lead.
Yeah, so I'm going to use this as a segue to talk about one of the players who we touched on a bit, but man, oh man, he's having a great postseason. So Ricky D in the comments asks, if you were a girl, which Canuck is the most attractive? I don't have to be a girl. I'll tell you the Canuck that's the most attractive, and it is Brock Boeser. Last night I'm watching the game with my wife. I'm just talking about how good-looking Brock Boeser is, man. This guy, come on. It's hard to have it all in life, to be smart, good-looking, and talented, but I think Brock Boeser does have it all. And man, oh man, you look at the postseason this guy's having, and I believe the only guys who have more playoff goals than him right now are Leon Draisaitl and Val Nichushkin, if I'm not mistaken. I did look at it last night. He's third overall in playoff goals, 7 goals in 9 playoff games. He has 9 goals in 7 games against the Edmonton Oilers this season. I think Stuart Skinner is having nightmares about Brock Boeser. And man, oh man, you talk about players stepping up, and we thought maybe, Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, but Brock Boeser has been so good all season long. And, Kyle, you talk about Quinn Hughes being great at both ends of the ice. Brock Boeser was great at both ends of the ice last night. He was matched up against Leon Draisaitl on the wing, had a couple of great plays against him defensively. So Brock Boeser scoring goals, doing his thing, almost had a hat trick. We thought he had a hat trick for a bit. Got to shout him out because he's been fantastic. And I'll start at Lindholm too quickly. I mean, talk about the regular season not mattering at all. Elias Lindholm has been a completely different player for the Vancouver Canucks. This guy was a ghost in the regular season. We're all ripping the trade, looking at Kuzmenko's point streaks in Calgary and blah, blah, blah. I saw a stat from a Calgary reporter last night who said that 36% of the Canucks playoff goals have come from these guys, and he's referring to Zadorov and Elias Lindholm. So thank you, Calgary, for Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov. One more quick point I want to make. Thank you to Jacob Markstrom, okay? And you may be wondering, why the F is this guy shouting out Jacob Markstrom? But a few seasons ago, Jacob Markstrom got offered a contract from the Edmonton Oilers and chose to sign with the Calgary Flames. And man, oh man, I think if Jacob Markstrom's in a net for the Edmonton Oilers, this series might be a bit different. But lo and behold, Jacob Markstrom is in Calgary. The Oilers have Stuart Skinner in net. So thank you, Jacob Markstrom.
Man, oh man. That's a pull, man. That really is. I didn't really put two and two together.
Those last 3 minutes were all over the place, but I got a lot of
that's mind. Again, getting ahead of ourselves. But that's another reason why I feel as if the Canucks beat the Oilers with the third string goaltender, it's gonna put a 12-month gap between, again, the now and the era ending for the Oilers, because professionally speaking, that management group has not done, in my opinion, the bare minimum, and that's find a competent goaltender, right? Straight up for McDavid and Draisaitl, man. You know what? Somebody called me out on the last episode because I was really, really appreciating the greatness of those two guys. And I know it's kind of soft to me. It's weak. I'm turning 31 this week. Okay. I'm no longer 30 and a half years old. I'm turning wise. I'm just appreciating the moment. And those two are so incredible. And you're telling me that year after year after year, you cannot find even average goaltending. You know what I'm saying? Average goaltending. They just need a save. They just need one save. And again, if a third stringer does it, it's going to put the nail in the coffin. Okay. For real. Anyways, yeah, more comments. Richard saying, morning, one left to Richard. Hope you're doing well. Look at this comment from Infamous. Zadorov has more goals than McDavid this series. That is something else. Look at this comment from Frosty Balls. Embrace the chaos. Giraffe. Tyler Myers, man. Look at the heel turn. How did he do this? Speaking of how did he do this, yesterday was another reminder. And Beggsy, how much time do I have before I ask you another long-winded question? Just lay it out loud. Okay?
Let's go for a few more minutes, man. I'm jacked up talking about this.
I want to ask this. I want to ask you this again. Speaking of heel turn, and I know it's a man we talk about a lot, right? And maybe it gets redundant when we bring up the fact that, again, we're not too far away from a majority of this fan base wanting Bo Horvat over JT Miller. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the fan base was disappointed that Miller signed long-term, and a lot of people are doubting his abilities. Again, I know the Canucks get dominated offensively last night, right? Quote unquote. but how quality was JT Miller based on what he was doing on the power play and how many times he was laying the boom, laying the body. This is a 100-point player. And I don't know how many points he has in the playoffs, but I'm pretty sure he's over a point per game by a quote-unquote significant bit, okay? What an outlier in the league. I'm not talking about just playoff body checks because it's the playoffs. I'm talking about laying some of the hardest hits in the playoffs this year. All playoffs long. What a player. You win with guys like that. And I got to bring this up again just to put that hope out there. I know people are saying that we're delusional for thinking the Canucks have a chance to win the cup. Bro, I'm telling you, this is the truth. The biggest reason why Alvin and Rutherford and Tocchet made all the moves they made this year in year one of this window opening, they have made like multiple trades where they're just giving away picks. 8 to 10 picks have been shipped out the window in the last 14 months for a team that was in the lottery 14 months ago. The biggest reason why they do that is because their best forward and one of their best players outside of Quinn Hughes, real talk, is 31 years old. No, straight up. When that's happening and he's that much of an outlier too, because again, you win with guys like that, it makes sense. We're talking about the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. You have to identify that and just lean into it instead of the quote unquote plan, because the players get it done. And right now, JT Miller is getting it done.
Yeah. And again, I think in this series, the interesting part of it has been, he had that amazing power play assist on Pettersson's goal, but his impact on this series has largely been the job he's done playing against McDavid and his physical game. And I love that shift in the second period last night where, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins knocks him over and, JT Miller's not happy about it. And then he absolutely belts Janmark behind the net. And, the puck was kind of there. Like, you don't really call that interference in the playoffs, but you could have called that interference. But again, what a hit on Janmark behind the net. That is one way to rebound from getting knocked down on the same shift. But just the plays Miller's making by the net, just like absolutely dogging guys, getting on pucks. I think there was a snapshot of like 8 or 9 guys in the crease at one point last night, and JT Miller was right in that mix. Again, it's the hardest job in hockey to go against Connor McDavid, but this guy's doing it on a nightly basis. And honestly, I know the shots were, ridiculous last night, but overall, JT Miller's line did a pretty good job against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl even strength.
Bro, the fact that JT Miller is, and again, I know you watch the game a different way, and like you watch the details, and for me, I'm like, yo, like sometimes the fancy stats and all that ish, it doesn't matter because I'm like, we're just getting dominated. Get the puck out, I'm getting frustrated. Okay, I can't really say JT Miller's doing more than well against that line based on what I'm seeing with my eyes. Okay. This all being said, the fact that I'm using my eyes and seeing that there's still a lot of inconsistencies in the impact a guy like Elias Pettersson is making shift after shift. And I know he's playing with AHLers and Ilya Mikheyev, like another open net opportunity yesterday. And what does he do? He shoots it the other way. Like, I know he's not playing with those guys right now, but again, he is the $11.6 million man. He is the quote unquote number one center of this team, right? Gets paid $3 million more than JT Miller going into next season. And the fact that Miller's identifying the fact that he's not going, and stepping up and pretty much, how do I say it, filling up that gap that Pettersson is leaving based on everything that Miller's doing is incredible, man. What a leader. What a leader. Dude, I can't believe this guy's a 100-point player. I can't. He's the best power forward in hockey when he's on. And he's what a player. What a player, Bagsy.
Yeah,
Straight
JT
up.
Miller. He's the GOAT for sure, man. And you talked about it a couple episodes ago. Shout out to the everydayers. They know that, but man, oh man, JT Miller could become the face of the NHL if the Canucks do get through this series. And he deserves it, man. Again, one of the most unlikely 100-point players in recent NHL history. And the guy's just been unreal in these playoffs. Okay, let's touch on this comment. And Kyle, I'll let you take the floor on it. John Johnson commented, Karlsson got the end game puck from Garland for stepping in. I found that interesting, man, and I didn't love the decision. I mean, you're taking out Linus Karlsson, who in his handful of NHL games didn't look great, didn't look special. I know Höglander's struggling right now, but that choice kind of puzzled me. It was just sticking another AHL with Elias Pettersson, who he's coming on. Like, you can see Pettersson playing better.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, playing with hands of stone Mikheyev and Linus Karlsson, who has no NHL points in 4 in NHL games or something like that. Didn't love the decision. I thought Karlsson got better as the game went on. I know Rick Tocchet was very complimentary of him after the game, but I felt like it was an interesting decision for Connor Garland to give him the game puck. Mm-hmm. I really thought early on Karlsson struggled.
Why do you think he did it? Like, I know Garland ended the okay, so just to clear things up, the Canucks win playoff games and they give the game puck out to a player in the dressing room, and that player puts it like in a little Plinko board that ultimately leads to the Stanley Cup, okay? And the obvious choice, player of the game yesterday for the Vancouver Canucks is Arturs Silovs, okay? Heroic. How is he doing this? I don't know. Has Roberto Luongo had more than 2 stealing type playoff performances where his team's getting absolutely dominated in one playoffs? I don't know. That's how good Arturs Silovs has been this series, okay? Or this playoffs in general. Anyways, he should have got the puck, but Garland, who won the player of the game in game 1, gives it to Karlsson. And you're like, what? This guy's 0 points, maybe like 0 shots, 11 minutes, had a good first period. But honestly, like, again, like the whole team, like we got outshot by like 35-5 in the last 2 periods. I don't even know if I'm lying. But here's Karlsson getting the game puck. Why is he getting it? Because the Canucks are a unit. They're a team. They're not a group of individuals. I just see Canucks. I just see Canucks players. It's a beautiful thing. And you bring in the little things, right? When Miller is smoking players like that, this guy's your leading point scorer. He's doing that. That makes him a Canuck. That brings the team together. When Lindholm is laying the body, look at the first shift of the game. Destroys Ekholm. Joshua then destroys McDavid. That brings the team together. Look at what Zadorov does at the end of the game. Cross-checks Connor McDavid. Puts a target on his back. Look what Silovs doing. The team is stuck together right now. They're effing unit. And Garland giving the game puck to an AHL player who played 11 minutes in the game and honestly was not that important, to be honest, is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. I'm still recording. Okay, what do you want to say about the Canucks? My daughter's in the room.
Yeah.
Can you say go Canucks go?
Go Canucks, go!
Let's go.
We gotta edit on that note. It's over. Episode's over. Do your thing, Trevor. I think your mic might be unplugged here, but
yeah,
oh,
my mic's unplugged. My daughter's here. I think it's time for me to get out of here.
Yeah,
okay, Kyle, wrap up the show. One love to Vancouver Canucks. I'm hitting the applause button for the fans here. Locked on Canucks, your Canucks every day, and for the Vancouver Canucks. Let's go.
No, one love. Okay. I'll wrap it up. My name's Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Beggs. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network for giving us that culture, right? Telling us last year that, when you guys go on shows, tell them it's your team every day, okay? Tell all the listeners. And what do we tell them? We told them right away, screw those other teams. We don't care about those other teams, okay? We're telling the people it's your Canucks every day. And we're blessed, man, to be watching games in the middle of May. Again, one love to the Don't Dose Art Lab for giving us that West Coast bias and that space to give you this episode. Join the Discord, link in the bio, Talk Canucks on the toilet. And man, one love, man. Whatever happens with Soucy happens, bro. Juleson's going to come in and we're still going to win tomorrow, man. It's just the truth. It's just the truth, man. The Canucks are winning this series. Go Canucks, go. And enjoy yourself. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.